welcome to Mental Health. We've got a good interview here today. Once again, this is like out of the last 4 weeks, this will be the third week talking to an Irishman. So there's that, you know. It's not Robert De Niro because it's Natural Irishman. So yeah, because that was a movie.
Yeah, man. Fuck that. Jesus Christ, I forgot all about that movie actually, and
it was really long. How could you forget about that?
It was like, yeah, I know. It was. I felt like real life. It was so fucking long. But the De Niro, like it was a swing and a miss in a lot of places. Like the young De Niro.
All the effects and everything.
He looked possessed or something. Like it was so weird.
Yeah, it was the effects, the visual effects demons that made him look possessed.
Yeah. But he still moved like an elderly man, you know.
Well, it's hard to take that away from him, right?
Yeah. But fuck it, he's De Niro. Like he can kind of do whatever he wants, can't he? You know?
It's true. But you know who isn't De Niro? You are Brendan McConnell from the black and death metal band Vircolac.
Yeah, not as good as De Niro, but it's okay.
Well, De Niro also doesn't play metal, so like, if you saw De Niro play metal, you'd be like, "Fuck, I'm better than that guy."
Maybe, yeah. Although maybe if he could, if like Scorsese told him to, he could just do it. Like, I don't know.
When Scorsese starts playing maybe the founders of death metal movie or something like that, and De Niro's because he will be like hopefully just because he's so old, they'll give him the job of the guy from Possessed, so that way he's a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So like he doesn't have to pretend that he's a young man walking.
Yeah.
And that's why, kids, you don't do drugs and get in bad drug deals and then wind up crippled. Yeah, okay. Hopefully I get to interview that guy one day and he doesn't watch this right now.
He'll be on next week because he'll have heard about this and he'll be coming for you.
I'm still gonna ask. Right? Like,
yeah.
But I do this for me because like if I don't keep busy and stuff, I wind up dead. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and it's trickier to kind of keep busy now, isn't it? Like, do you find that you're struggling to find things to do? Are you doing new stuff? You know, all this COVID stuff.
I'm really happy right now. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, and it's because I'm doing awesome stuff with like sketches, with this podcast. I've got a project coming public with Ed the Sock, who is like the Canada's MTV, which is Much Music. He was a sock puppet that was a VJ, so he's like redoing the old days of music videos where like I do the throws and then we watch the music videos and all that stuff.
Cool.
Like back in the old days.
And is this all stuff? Is this all stuff that came from like the start of the pandemic, and you kind of worked all this up to keep you busy?
I opened for Stephen Kersner, who is Ed the Sock, because he was doing an Ed the Sock live show, and I kept in contact. I kept on telling how I wanted to interview bands, and then COVID happened. I didn't hear anything back from him, so I was like, well, I have to just do it myself. So I started doing it myself, and because I started doing it myself, then he gave me the metal VJ job for the music. It's called the Music Station. It's going to be called just like because it's a generic, bland name. And then we can make like petty jokes about catching the music train and bullshit like that. And just like I was like, what is this? Like a rundown subway on the East End, you know?
It's good, like the
Toronto joke, but yeah.
The reason I ask is like there's a friend of mine, and I was chatting to him at the first lockdown in Ireland. It's been shit because there's been. I think this is like our 5th lockdown in a row, or we're not. Wow. Anyway, I was chatting to him during the first one, and he said it's like the best month of his life because he's just using the time to read and like watch all the movies he wants to catch up on and spend time at home with his girlfriend and like all this stuff. Now he just hates it. It's like, I guess it's everyone. You tried to put the positive spin on it at the start, and now it's like, okay, did wear me down that much,
It's like
So,
spinning
yeah.
a top at that point, you put the positive spin on it, but it's going to fall over again.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's handled so badly here in Ireland as well, and they seem to be, it's just so strange because like what they're doing is closing all restaurants and pubs, but Ireland is built on pubs, so it's hit all the rural areas really, really hard, so it's just very strange, really frustrating to see that. It's almost like the government is choking the country in order to,
it's just
total,
ruining the middle class. And then the only places you're allowed to get groceries are like the big chain grocery stores and like Costco and stuff. It's just bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah.
I think the worry is that eventually you're going to drive through all of these rural villages and they'll turn into ghost towns, because they have nothing else. It's just the pub and the local shop, and maybe a church because it's Ireland,
Yeah.
But that's all there'll be left.
Yeah, but like also there's more people dying from overdose and suicide than actual COVID. But hey, let's not talk about that as well.
Yeah, sorry. I know I went straight into the fucking COVID chat, but we can set that aside now.
Yeah. So when did you start liking metal? Because this is mental health, so we'll talk about metal.
I will never ever forget my first experience with heavy metal. Yeah. I'm glad I remembered. The first time I was over in a friend's house who he lived down the road from me. I'm from a real rural area, that's kind of why I was chatting about it before. But really rural area. There was one guy down the road from me, and he had two older brothers. And I went down to the house, and we were sitting in like his mom's car. I was maybe 11 or 12, and his brother's cassettes were all just left in the car. Stuck it in. First song was Master of Puppets. Just the initial E. I kind of sat back. I paused it. I was like, okay, what the fuck is this? Why did no one tell me this? What is this? I was so blown away by the sound of an electric guitar. And I absolutely loved it. And then from there, I was like, can I borrow these tapes? And I took them all and copied all the tapes, and I make it sound like this is the 80s. This is like mid 90s. It was just, it's the rural, it's the past, But so I was making it their business to copy everything and get as many CDs as I could and discover all these bands. And it started off, I guess that's a usual band to start off with, Metallica, and then there was Iron Maiden and AC/DC. And
you're wearing an Iron Maiden shirt right now.
Yeah. Like I've got Eddie tattooed on here as well. I don't know if you can see, but like,
awesome. You talking about Metallica, but I'm a clear-cut Megadeth fan.
Oh yeah. Oh man, let's see. Can you see that?
There it is. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So Megadeth as well. Like they're one of those bands, and they're actually Megadeth kind of fall into the category of like when I started listening to Slayer. Slayer always that. Like the step up bands, it's like shit. This is heavier now. And that's kind of where I started getting into Megadeth, even though you could argue they're in the same vein.
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think we would have thrash metal at all if it wasn't for Dave Mustaine. Like when Dave Mustaine was in Metallica, he did the first album with Metallica, and he basically he taught James how to play, basically, right? And then Kerry King played with Dave too for a bit, and basically a lot of that rubbed off on Kerry. And when Metallica with Dave, when they went to New York, that's when Anthrax was like, "Whoa, we gotta speed things up here." So like, honestly, without Dave, I don't think we'd have.
One of the real specific things that he brought into it, I think, is focusing on the musicality of it. Because before that, you had your Motorheads and all that kind of, and in their own way, it's trashy but simple, And then really, you might say that that wave of thrash that kind of started with Metallica and Megadeth, it's more focused on playing your instrument well, and that's what he brought to it. Because it'd be interesting to see if you took Dave Mustaine out of the equation, what would Metallica sound like? Would they just be a mixture between Diamond Head and Motorhead, and would that be it? Like, would they have gone any further?
And also, if you like, not only you do that, but like you take the drugs out of Dave Mustaine too, right?
Yeah.
Do you really think that he would be able to make thrash metal if like we took out the drugs and he just like played every song like he had to pee really bad?
Yeah. Well, this like that is the thing, isn't it? Yeah, but this is the thing with drugs and rock music in general. Like, it definitely added the madness that comes with heavy metal and stuff. Now that comes from a lot of different areas, but the drugs kind of definitely ramped it up a little bit. Like, and you have Motorhead as well. I just finished reading Lemmy's biography, that White Line Fever. Okay. And it's just the guy was fueled by speed, and that's why the band was fast. You can
tell in the documentary still that he was still on speed. Like, his eyes were just dilated and just focused on playing whatever video games and stuff. And I definitely, like, when I was in my meth days, like my ritual would be like buy a 0.2 meth at least, and then just snort it all, and then play my video game of. It was Black Ops 1, just the zombies, but on the map Call of the Dead. So, and I'd play that for at least 12 hours, jerk off for another 12 hours, and then do meth again and just start the rotation over. And that was my day for months. Yeah. And then for a bit and then right back into it,
The thing as well, like with these guys, when they say they're clean and sober, like they never are. Ozzy's another example. He says he's off. He's fucking. There's no way, man. Like, as soon as that guy stops, he's going to die. And that's it. There's no way he could stop it. But I don't know. Like, those guys. Anyway, to go back to it, the drugs are the thing that it's like it took the barrier down that let them just fire into it and do all this stuff that had never been done before.
Yeah, don't do drugs, kids. Drugs. Worth it.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not. That's bad. How many kids watch this? Do a lot of children?
I doubt it, but like one day maybe. Who knows, right?
Yeah. Is this on like Disney Plus?
Or... You want your kid? You just had a kid. You want your kid watching this show?
I'll tell them all this privately.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, but like you are, like, first week of having a baby, right?
Yeah, that's right. He was born. Actually, what day is it, man? It's Monday now, right? So yeah, he's just over a week old, and it is great. Like, it's just this thing. I know we were speaking beforehand, but everything about it is great. With the exception of nighttime, you mightn't sleep as much. It's fine, but like even stuff like changing his diapers and things like that, it's kind of fun. It sounds bizarre, but you make an event of it, And like if my wife has to change it, I kind of laugh at her for having to do it or whatever. And like if he moves at all, it's the best thing ever. You're kind of so taken with him. But my favorite thing to do at the minute is to, if he's not sleeping, I'll have him sitting on my knee and I'll go over, put a record on, make a good cup of coffee, and just sit there. And it forces you to do I think it's called like attentive listening. So rather than being on my phone or kind of flicking through, seeing what's on Netflix and have the music on in the background, I'm sitting there like I was listening to UFO today, the album Force It, and I listened to the B-side 3 times in a row because I was like, wait a minute, this is so good. And I hadn't really done that in a long time, and it was just because he was sitting on my knee. So it's great. It's so chilled and relaxed doing that as well,
Yeah, like the only bad part is like because the baby was just born, like you can't have sex with your wife for a bit,
they say it's like 6 weeks or something.
Yeah, but it kind of just makes up for all the loads you dumped into her while she was pregnant, though, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think it's a nice break for both of us.
Yeah, right. I just actually today I went to a walking clinic to start the process of getting an STD check. Because I've got a new girl, and I want to make it so my dick, the only thing that gives her is pleasure.
Yeah, and
right?
Is it a specific thing you checked for, or is it like a blanket
Today I
STD
did
check?
the urine, so I peed in a cup for her, and on Saturday that's when they do the blood test. So I've got to go back Saturday and give up some blood.
Okay, yeah, cool. That's
Amazing.
very
You
responsible
take
of you.
blood out with a needle as well as put other stuff in, right?
Yeah, that's actually, that reminds me of I was looking at some of your stand-up yesterday, and you talk so openly through it about the drug abuse and all of that kind of stuff. Like it's pretty like I don't think I've
Not only
seen
do
another.
I do that, I arrange it with setup and punchline still, so it's
Yeah.
a joke. It's not
Yeah.
rambling on for 5 minutes without a laugh point.
But do you notice, like, because from the clip I saw, you can hear the crowd reel back a little bit, and
I know.
I reckon that's really, really powerful, that feeling as a comedian to be able to make them uncomfortable and then try and bring them back or surprise them or whatever. Like the craft of comedy is something I'm really interested in, because it's really crowd play, isn't it? And toying with
really
them
depends
a
on the
little
crowd
bit.
also too, right?
Yeah.
Most of my sets that I film are in Ottawa, because I get on at the Ottawa Yuck Yucks a lot more because I'm good friends with the owner. And so basically, Ottawa is a government town, like it's our nation's capital, and there's a lot of PC stuff. So if I can go in there and make them laugh with my life experiences, they're fucking just dark as fuck, right? And like arrange it in a way to still make them laugh. That's beautiful to me, because like people say that dark jokes and everything, they're easy, but like you try doing it, talking about some of the things that I do, and see what happens if you can actually get them to laugh. Because
it feels like with comedy there are all these rules, and like that's a good example of one of like dark humor. Okay, there are tons of comedians who are doing dark humor, but how dark is it really? Like there's always this like, here's the acceptable dark stuff, and here's the stuff that is not acceptable.
Jason Rouse.
But like, man, it's just crazy, like that these rules exist. But then you go and you say this stuff to a crowd of 100 people, 50 people, 1,000 people, and you're getting most of them to laugh.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about you. I'm talking about lots of guys. And then you kind of have to question, like, well, why is this in the conversation? This idea of what's being censored, and like who's talking about it? Because when you're at the comedy gigs, what you might get one person walking out, unless you're that Seinfeld guy or whatever. Like, but that's the only example I can think of,
Or like Jeff Dunham with the puppets. Like, it's okay, I'm not being racist. The puppets.
Yeah. And with stand-up guys as well, because this is what I really want to talk to you about. It's like, do you think there are that many stand-ups currently that are really any good?
Like Netflix style, not really, because they don't take any risks at all, and it's not even like not always set up punchline like an actual comedian, and they ramble on about their politics and saying things no one disagrees with. No one disagrees with it, so it's just like reinforcing their ideology, and it's not even like set up punchline. I don't even bother watching it unless it's like the greats, right? Like if it's Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, and awesome people like that, awesome.
Yeah, like there's other guys, like you mentioned Bill Burr. He's a guy that is just he's a master craftsman of what he does. Like, I didn't really understand that until I saw him live in Dublin. He was in the 3 Arena, 10,000 people. I saw him toy with the crowd in such a way that I was blown. It wasn't even how funny he was. It was just the craft that made me sit back and go, wow, like this guy's incredible.
It's true. The greats are the greats for a reason.
Yeah. But there's not too many lower level guys, I think. Now, look, it's not my main interest, so I'm sure there are tons of guys at lower levels that I don't know about. But I just it seems that they need to get to a certain level and prove themselves, and then once they have the special out, that's where I feel they're really judged, which is it's pretty harsh actually to for a comedian to have to go that far in order to be recognized fully.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I live in Canada, and we don't care about anyone who's from Canada unless you've made it somewhere else first. So like,
yeah, Ireland is exactly the same. Ireland is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like even I think the biggest TV show we have here is Father Ted. I'm not sure if you guys have you seen that? Father Ted. It's about a group of priests who live together on an island. Right? It's incredible. It's everything that is Irish humor is in Father Ted. But like it's on an English channel. It was on Channel 4, which is a UK channel. So you know, and it's same with a lot of bands as well. Thin Lizzy were big in England before they were big in Ireland. You know, so and a lot of bands at the minute feel like they can only get so far here because it's, well, for a number of reasons, but one being the population's so small, so there's not really a big crowd for these niche little genres of death metal or whatever it is. So you kind of have to work harder outside of it.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're taken a little bit more seriously here, you know.
That's true. All right. So typical stuff that you're supposed to ask in interviews, that metal stuff. All right. When did you start playing guitar and stuff? Yeah.
I started playing guitar soon after I heard that Master of Puppets thing I was talking about. But I found an acoustic guitar in the attic of my house. Me and my brother, we were just messing. We had nothing to do. We were messing around up in the attic, kind of breaking shit, finding shit, throwing shit out windows, that kind of nonsense. And there was a guitar case, and it was just this huge thing. And we went over. I was like, "What the hell is this?" Took it out. I couldn't believe it. Like when I touched the string, it made this sound. It was almost like that bit in 2112. In, you know, are you a Rush fan? I'm assuming you are because you're Canadian. But
it's also I'm aware that I should be, and I am. I don't listen to them. It's not that I don't like them. Like I'm proud of them because, you know, it's like Canadian heritage basically, and like starting progressive stuff.
Yeah.
I don't listen to them myself often. I've got one record of like them live, but yeah.
Okay.
But
okay. Well,
the good thing is like Getty, he just got signed like an endorsement deal. It's SpaghettiOs. Yeah, it's gonna be called SpaghettiOs, and the only letters in it are YYZ. I'm sorry I put you people through this. Yes, I mean you people.
If you can somehow get a company to make a tin of that YYZ, I want you to send that to me. It will never be opened. I will just leave a can of YYZ beans. Beans? What are they? Like spaghetti things?
Yeah.
I'll leave them in the press.
Noodles, but be the letters YYZ. Yeah.
Okay, well, look, I'll park the
can, you know?
Yeah. The half the can would just be his nose. But look, I'll park the Rush analogy then, and I'll just say I picked up the guitar, made a sound, I was amazed, right?
Yeah.
So from that point, me and that friend of mine who lived up the road, we just started playing, trying to make a sound, and I just took off with it. I loved it. And it was just, so that was around, I think it was maybe 14, 15 actually. So maybe not exactly when I had heard Metallica first, but they were definitely the starting point for the interest, obviously. So I don't know, what age am I now? 33. So it's like 16, 17 years that I've been playing.
You're an 85 baby?
87.
Oh yeah, 7. So I went the wrong way. Because I'm 87.
You know, but my maths are, but I'm December 87, so I could be, that makes it even more difficult.
Okay.
So I think we're okay. People will forgive the maths here.
I corroded my math skills with meth, so yeah, don't look at me.
you changed one letter and got it wrong, so you went meth instead of math.
Yeah.
That's a great joke.
It goes into the part of the brain, and it fucks up the math part.
Yeah. Okay. That was my attempt at comedy, by the way. And
keep on trying. You know, you don't get anywhere if you don't try. You don't get anywhere with anything if you don't try, right?
Yeah. inspirational.
Well, just being me, doing all this for me. If I can help other people along the way,
Yeah.
it's a good day. All right. So let's talk about your band. Yeah, you should talk about your band because this is what this whole thing is supposed to be. Not just talking about me and stand up and babies and STDs and ghettios.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just take the next few minutes and just really plug your band, and we'll get going soon after that.
Well, I'm bad at plugging the band, but I will say that we've done nothing this year.
Yeah, like most bands. That's why you're able to talk bands like this.
But well, look, this year was kind of weird because at the start of the year we were actually going to be over in the States. We had 7 dates planned for a tour. It was us, another Irish band, Sacrilegia, and a black metal band called Spite. We were going to do 7 dates, but that was due in May. And so that was all cancelled, obviously. So that was kind of heartbreaking, you know. It would have been our first time over there. It would have been great. So then at that stage, we took the opportunity to start writing for the next album because we can't really tour the last album we put out, which was Mask. We did one short tour in Eastern Europe, not last year, year before, and that was the only shows we really played for it. So it's kind of like that album has never really seen its day, you know, which is really annoying. But we said we'd start writing a new one. Then another lockdown happened, and then another one, and then we weren't able to rehearse. So it's just been me sitting in this room, which kind of from my screen looks like an insane asylum. But it's just been me sitting in here playing riffs, you know.
I can
trying to put something together. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know, like the band, I only joined for the EP that we did. Okay. It's called The Cursed Travails of the Demeter, which is a Dracula
I thought
link.
You said like cursed something of a janitor.
A janitor?
Yeah, right?
No, it's not about janitors. Okay. Right. No, the Demeter is the ship that Dracula took.
Okay.
And to come over, and I think Dracula is writing a book about real estate because he just came over and bought a house. So, but and there's a link to it as well. It's Bram Stoker, so he's from actually near where I live. So there was that connection to it. We wanted to keep the band very much like an Irish death metal band because there's a lot of stuff in Ireland. We have a lot of folklore. There's kind of, we've got Bram Stoker as well, so we wanted to include all of that. It's just why not try and do something a bit different, you know. And I know like there's plenty of bands as well that are doing the same thing maybe, but they're singing about different areas of, folklore and the mythology within the country. So Mask, which is the full album, kind of does some of the same thing. There's a lot of folklore stories and kind of just stuff about Irish history in there as well, because a couple of the guys in the band are really big into that. I'm more just the music side of things, but they're big into just Irish history in general. So all of that was brought into it as well, rather than all these bands that are just singing about zombies or all that kind of stuff. I just find that so boring. And I really like the idea.
Like the last 30 years at least, right? So
yeah. Well, and I'm not taking the piss out of any of the earlier bands that did that because obviously they were the first ones and they had the idea of like going to the extreme level of things and singing about these gory things, which really made it had a purpose within the music. But then once it became this kind of just overdone, just really tired. I think I don't think there's much need for that anymore, really. And I don't know, maybe some band will come out next year and do it really well, and I'll be eating my words, but whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think it's just interesting to try and draw something different in lyrically. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else. I wish I could tell you what we're doing next, but we have to wait and see. Like this is such a strange time because people are going to look back on interviews of bands they love, and there's going to be tons of this. There's going to be tons of interviews going, right, we've got nothing. I don't know what to do, you know.
Like, not only with bands, but with anything, I would like to know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you very much, Brendan, for being on Mental Health.
Wow, man, that was, geez, how long was that? That was so quick.
I don't know. I haven't stopped recording yet, but it's almost 6, and we're like,
Hey.
Right? So we're probably like way over time. But
yeah, that's cool, man. That's perfect. Thanks so much.
Because I'm still recording.
Okay, well, you know, whatever, it's fine, you know. But
just give us a little. Oh, thank you, Rob, and goodbye. Right? Let's do that.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Rob. That was an absolute pleasure. And look, if you ever want me on again or want to chat again, let me know.
So you want to do a round 2? All right. We'll get this lined up here. All right. Thank you very much for being on Mental Health.
Cheers.
This is the perfect analogy for mental health. All right. Boom. I fall. And then like the jogger comes up. Oh, that happened. That happened right in front of me. Do I have to care? Looks around. Do I have to care? Oh, there's no one around. Okay, I'll just keep going.